So I did a garden tour yesterday, but it was incredibly noisy with neighbors doing yard work, so I thought I'd try again today after I have spent several hours today updating, activating, adding, and fixing my drip system in the yard. I added a soaker hose to my peas, which are along my driveway and the neighbor's fence. This is my contraption for my automated drip system. I have this that goes to the landscape, this goes to the raised beds, and this is my hose that I operate by hand. And this is my reeding garden. Everything needs to be weeded. I just have not had time to do that, but my drip system is now active. I've got my mint and lemon balm and chives. There's a dripper in there, and then this is all chamomile. I just love harvesting these. I need to do that now. I'll snip those off so that it continues to bloom, and then I'll dry them for tea. And then also a nice feature of my drip system is to refresh the bird bath continuously, or when it's on anyway. I need to get that trained. But it drips down in there and keeps fresh water going into the bird bath, which is nice. And the bees like the water too. I'll rinse it out with the hose every now and then as well. My drip system goes all the way through my landscape. Peonies are about to pop. The front one is definitely blooming. And then we come along past one of the Nanking cherries, one patch of raspberries, back to my Three Sisters area, which is corn, black beans for drying. I have 3 different types of squash. I have spaghetti squash here, and then around the front is butternut squash, and then on the other side, the third side, is buttercup squash. The beans are planted with the corn, which will climb up the corn. And then today I spent quite a bit of time this morning putting up these old pruned off cherry branches around 2 sides to try to protect the corn patch from the deer stepping on it. They're kind of prickly a little bit, so that hopefully keeps their nose out of there and keeps them from stepping through it. And then I have 3 different skyscraper sunflowers planted. There's actually a lot coming up, just volunteer from last year, but I definitely want to have the 3. And then this is my pumpkins, and there's a nasturtium coming up through there. I have a couple of large bunches of pineapple weed in the driveway that I've decided not to pull this year. Those are also chamomile. It's wild chamomile, and they smell so good. Also good for teas. And then I'm guilty of chopping my drip system line when I'm pruning in the fall, and it seems like there's a couple places I do it every year, and this was one of them, so I had to fix that. But this is some really nice sedum that's about to start blooming. My iris are done, but there's that little sprinkler head. I have purple iris and yellow iris, and they're all done. My compost bins, the other raspberry patch sorely needs weeding with all the grass. And then this is my garden tower with different things planted in it you've seen before in a video. I have painted pony beans planted over here along with 2 types of cantaloupe and honeydew. And then this side is rattlesnake beans, which I discovered I forgot to plant, so I planted those yesterday. And then there's 2 sugar baby watermelons, and those will climb up and over on each side of the cattle panel that is over the tower. If I need to, I could cover that to protect the tower from hail. And then today, also behind here would be the asparagus and strawberry bed. along the fence there that has deer netting over it on hoops. I added, this is a new addition for the sprinkler system. I have soaker hoses on each side for the beans and melons. And then there's a sprinkler in there catching the strawberries and asparagus. And then I strung, instead of having a line that kind of prevented me from rotating the tower, now I have one that goes up the cattle panel and ends with, it's kind of, I had to modify it, but there's a sprinkler head there. I don't have enough pressure now that I've added all of the different areas, the corn, the peas, and this area. There's not really enough pressure for it to actually sprinkle out into a spray, but it does drip onto the tower to water it automatically. And I don't have my 6 potato bags watered, but I think they're going to be fine just like they are without additional water. If they need water, I can do it by hand with the sprinkler or the hose. And I had a few soaker hose lines to repair that got severed when I was trimming, but they are all automatically watered now. I just kind of direct the hose through everything that's planted. This is bush beans, turnips, and parsnips. And I have a dripper that I was going to keep in each pepper pot in between the beds, but it's too much water, I think. So if they need it, I'll just put it in there briefly. This would be shallots, leeks I started from seed. My garlic, I just have the one scape that I need to trim off. I got all of them yesterday, or the couple days ago, and made garlic scape pesto and compound butter with. And then this is all onions, cabbages, celery, Brussels sprouts. And since I first tried to video, oh, I've got a red onion that went to seed. For some reason my red onion sets go to seed, so I'll pull those. But I've got a borage flower that's blooming now. I can't get it to focus. Come on. There we go. Pretty. And then this is I keep forgetting to get this to my folks. It's a cherry tomato that I don't have room for. But I've got onions that the neighbor gave me, extra onions. I'll have a lot of those to dry this fall. And all of my tomatoes. Cherry tomatoes, Sweet 100, and large red cherry, Marglobe tomatoes, and Homestead. A few herbs. Oregano, can't get the parsley or the tarragon to come up, we'll see. I replanted again. And San Marzano tomatoes, 1 Oregon Spring, and 1 black pineapple. And then in some of the beds there are beans on the ends, different kinds of drying beans, more peppers. I had to replant several of the beans yesterday. They're not all coming up. Those look kind of bug-eaten. And then we have the lettuce and carrot and beet bed. I took a couple of heads of the butter crunch lettuce yesterday and romaine to my folks for dinner for Father's Day, and it was awesome. I've got beets coming up here. This is a Swiss chard, and then I have some radishes that are left and a couple of different types of carrots coming up. Spinach going to seed. I'll try to collect those seeds. It's just too hot, really hot right now. And also the arugula is going to seed, and I'll try to collect those as well. peppers, a couple of pots of tomatoes that I kind of didn't want to let go of, that we'll see if I can get them to grow in pots, and then more beans along this end. And one last thing, over here in the corner, and actually I didn't put any sprinkler on it, and I should add, I'll probably have to add a line to sprinkle these to get some water on them, but these are pickling cucumbers, and then a slicer that just, I put a started plant in there that I started from seed and it croaked, and I've planted seeds I think twice since and it just won't come up, so it doesn't like the conditions right there, unfortunately. My lavender pot and my lemongrass and petunia pot has a dripper in it. And except for the cucumbers that I need to add, that I totally forgot about, everything in the garden and landscape is now getting water and ready to produce.